Hello.
It is good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So how has your week been?
Okay, I guess. It's fine. It's okay.
Last time we met, you had a couple things that you were going to be looking at for the next session.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was you were going to be trying to cut back on your drinking for the morning. You know, you had been drinking before work and you were going to try to, have that be the first thing that you stopped doing.
Mm-hmm.
How's that been?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good, sure. 3 out of 5.
Okay.
So
3 out of 5 days you've stopped?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
3 out of 5.
that is, a big change for you.
Progress.
That is progress.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Good. It lets you know you need to drink less at night. Because if you don't have that cocktail in the morning, you sure don't feel so hot. So that's not a bad benefit.
So it is letting you know how much you're drinking at night is going to be affecting you.
Yes, it is.
So what kind of wake-up call was that maybe for you, do you think?
That was I think a little more eye-opening than the realization that I was drinking in the morning. It's like, yeah, once you get used to it, I guess, right? I mean, I don't know. But kind of interesting, then you go, wow, okay, I feel like crap for, half the day. Because then you have, lunch.
Right.
So.
How were you at work then, those mornings where you weren't drinking?
I would say fine.
Okay.
I don't know, of course, what my workmates would say, but I think I was fine. It was harder, I think. But
so it was harder for you, but as far as everyone else knows, you went through the same motions, but for you felt a little bit like it was harder for you to function.
Yeah, because I kind of felt crappy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little bit.
So going forward, what do you think the pros and cons for stopping the morning drinking will be, making that change?
Well, I guess you got to drink less at night. Because if you drink less at night, then then you don't have to drink in the morning.
Yeah.
It isn't quite the thing. I don't know that I necessarily needed the bracer to go on with my day as far as being, I think it was more a reaction to being hungover and needing to right the ship, so to speak. So I think the key would be probably cut back on the alcohol at night would be probably my guess.
Okay. So what do you think that change would look like for you?
Well, I could probably start with the hard liquor. Maybe if I just, did that, that would be, a step in the right direction. So I think that would probably be the right way to go. Glass of wine or two with dinner or a beer or something, but maybe scale back on the hard liquor.
Okay.
Probably.
And that would definitely be something, maybe getting back more to what you used to be like before the drinking was an issue?
That's would be my hope, yeah.
Okay.
Because I've always been okay with social drinking and having a drink with dinner and, out with friends a little bit or whatever, but I've been, as we talked about last time,
right.
Going a little overboard.
So, what do you think best case scenario would be for you if you could make all these changes? What do you think the best case scenario of what things would look like in the end?
Oh, boy, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Well, the best case scenario would be back to what you said, to the way it was, before, and just a social drink here or there, beer and wine with dinner, and not having to always be reliant on alcohol to get through my life, I guess, right?
So you don't want to have to be completely abstaining from alcohol. You think best case scenario would be to be able to socially drink when you're out with your wife, with friends, but not have to drink every day, not have to have multiple drinks every time you drink, and be able to be functioning that way.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
Okay.
That would be ideal, because I don't know that I would want to not ever again.
Right.
I'm not one of those people who hates the taste and drinks just to get hammered. I like beer. I like wine. I like it. I enjoy it.
Right.
You know, so I like it with a meal. So I'd like to be at that point instead of the the AA guy and I can't drink ever again and stuff. I would rather not be that person.
And that can be really overwhelming to look at sometimes and say, wow, I might never be able to drink again. So sometimes making these small steps and seeing where that leads can be helpful.
I'm hoping. That's my hope.
Okay. One of the other things that we talked about last time was that, some of the things leading up to the stress that led to the drinking was being unhappy at work, being stressed about retirement and finances, but not feeling like you could share that with your wife at this time, and you were hoping to maybe find a way to talk to her about that. Was that conversation able to happen yet?
Fringes, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know that I was really ready to just sit and have that whole heart-to-heart conversation and lay it all out there and stuff. I don't know that I was ready for that. I'm ready for that yet. So we've nibbled a little and I've made little comments and stuff. So maybe kind of opening the door a little bit.
And sometimes that's, a good start is to open the door so that when you have that bigger conversation, it's not a complete shock. That, you've made little steps so that she is aware of a bigger conversation possibly coming. How did she react to those little nibbles that you gave her?
Fine. Didn't, not like she was like, holy crap, why are you talking to me about this?
Okay.
It wasn't a shocker, and maybe because I did only do tiny little sort of bits, and maybe if she's wondering why, she's keeping it to herself and waiting to see where I go. I don't know. I don't 100% know. But it didn't set off any, alarms or bells or things or something.
Is your wife one to normally keep things to herself if she has any concerns or questions, or is she pretty open with anything that she's feeling?
Usually she's pretty open, but maybe, I don't know. I haven't really talked about any of this at all, so maybe she's just sort of waiting to see. But I don't think she would wait and see for forever.
Okay. Well, I definitely think giving her, little hints of it and opening it up for a bigger conversation is a great way to start. And that way, when the bigger conversation happens, it's kind of been a natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to just have that conversation when you're ready. You can't force it, until when you're ready to have that conversation and you feel like maybe she's ready to have that conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, now that I've opened the door a little bit, I'm kind of thinking that I need to do it sooner than later, because eventually she'll figure out what is going on.
Right.
And the other is that it's sort of like, like in limbo, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
Before it was one complete way, just completely keeping everything in, and then now this is, I'm doing a little bit, but I'm not all the way there, and so it's kind of like a limbo sort of a thing. So I know it's, transition and stuff, but it sort of feels like it's probably something I should do sooner than later.
And that's good that you feel that way, and then you will have that conversation, sometime soon when you feel like it's the right time.
Yeah.
I know that she had been the one who wanted you to come and talk to me, and she had concerns about your drinking. How has she been in the last week since we've seen each other, knowing that you've been seeing somebody, possibly noticing changes with you not drinking in the morning, changes in how you felt about your drinking? Has that made any changes in your relationship with her? Has she seemed to comment on maybe any positive changes in you?
No, not really. And I can only suspect that I'm not 100% sure how much she knows I was drinking in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So the changes in the evening haven't been that dramatic yet. That's why the drinking in the morning thing has become oh, goodness gracious, I need to not maybe drink so much at night. So I'm not sure she's really seen that yet. So the parts that were hidden are the parts I've changed so far, I think. So
Okay.
I'm not a lot, maybe, I don't know. And maybe, I don't know, maybe the fact that I've opened the door a little bit a couple of times, she's seeing a breakthrough and she's just kind of, because, I don't know. Do you think she thinks that if she says something to me, she might wreck it, just wants to see where we're going with this thing before she jumps in, or I don't really know how this works.
It's very possible that she wants you to be able to take your time in your treatment and not make too many comments, that maybe if she makes comments she might feel like she's pushing. Mm-hmm. So she might want to just let you do what you need to do and let that be your thing and back away until you talk to her about it.
When I'm ready, so she doesn't...
Giving you your space and letting you come to her when you're ready. So, because my guess is that she probably has noticed at least a change in your feeling about your drinking, even if she didn't know you were drinking in the morning. I would think that, now that you've started seeing somebody and you've noticed that you need to make some changes, she's probably noticed a difference, but she probably knows that she needs to be waiting to see what you want to talk to her about.
Okay, yeah. So I don't think between the two of us, it hasn't really changed much yet, but maybe on her end she's noticed. I don't know, maybe you're right. She may have noticed some things.
Yeah, she might have noticed and she wants to just wait and let you come to her. She probably feels like, she's already asked you to come see me. She doesn't want to be too pushy with,
Sure. Okay.
And also because what you talk about in therapy is you're, private for you. She doesn't want you to probably feel like she's being,
trying to find out what we talk about?
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I understand. Okay, makes sense.
We did also talk last time about how you were wanting to maybe start spending some time with her doing things that did not involve drinking, going to movies, doing other things like that. Have you found any time to do that? I know it's only been about a week, so you probably haven't. Have you looked at possibly doing that sometime soon?
Yeah, I think that's important. I still think that's important. I haven't quite got there yet either. So, sort of like the conversation wasn't 100% there yet. We're still in our daily rut thing,
right.
But, I think we should make plans for this weekend and see if we can go to a movie and stuff and maybe go have a bite to eat beforehand or afterhand that, not a fast food place, but like a patio or a place that
you wouldn't necessarily
sit and have a few cocktails,
right?
And try that maybe this weekend.
Okay, I think that's definitely something that would be good for the two of you, and also I think she would see that that's a definite change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hopefully she won't die of a heart attack when I suggest that.
I think that she will be surprised in a very positive way.
Okay.
One thing that I wanted to possibly touch on this time as well is what your feelings would be like possibly going to some type of support group or some type of group that has to do with others, like Alcoholics Anonymous or anything else like that, so that you could be working on steps towards your treatment with others.
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
It was difficult enough to get me to do this with one-on-one, which I'm glad we are.
Right.
I mean, the last week was good, and I think I understand where I need to go, and it's been very, very helpful. But I don't like doing group things. I'm not a group thing person.
Okay.
So I don't know that I would want that, my hope is that I wouldn't need it, would be the biggest hope. Okay. The other side of it is I don't love that stuff.
Okay.
So
it's not, and it definitely isn't for everybody.
I don't know that I would want to do that necessarily, unless you think I have to.
Definitely, it is completely up to you about your comfort and what you think is right for you. That is sometimes an option for people to go to meetings between therapy appointments, and so that they can be meeting people that can be a support system to them that does not involve drinking, and to talk about things. But not everybody likes to do things with groups, and not everybody likes that kind of setting. Now, I do know that there are people who don't like AA because of, they don't like the steps, or they might not like that it's sort of faith-based. There are parts of it that are faith-based, yes. But there are different groups. So if it's something that you want at some point to find a group, we can definitely find you one. There are ones that are not faith-based. But I know groups are not for everybody. And if you continue to make steps and you feel like meeting with me is something that works for you, that is completely fine. This is whatever, your treatment is whatever you think you want.
Yeah, can we hold off on the group thing?
Of course.
Because if I make enough progress this way, I'd rather not. I suppose if I don't, then we feel that that's, you know, something that would be beneficial to the next step and stuff, then I guess, you know, there's something to consider, and I'll refer to your, you know, judgment for that. But I would rather not if we can continue to make progress, you know, together.
That is definitely okay, and I think it's really great that you are open to making changes in what you want to do as time goes on, depending on what you need.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, that would be okay. And then I'm not a fan of faith-based things, and it would have to be kind of a smaller group. I wouldn't want to do this in a big group of people. You know, like you see on TV where they're sitting in chairs and they got to get up at the lectern and talk. I don't want to do that.
And I don't think all the groups are like it is on TV, but I do think that sometimes people have a harder time talking in larger groups. I know I don't like talking in larger groups either, so that is something I completely understand. So we would definitely find a group that would match your needs. In this area, there are a ton of different kinds of groups.
Okay.
Lots of them are not faith-based. There's meetings at all different times. So we would find one that works for you.
Okay.
But like you said, you're hoping that this works for you. Just, you know, meeting with me and seeing how this goes. So we would see how the progress goes with this for the next month or two. And then if you continue to make progress like you have been, you know, we've only met once. You've already cut out most of your morning drinking. We'll see what goes on the next couple weeks.
Okay.
And we can go from there.
Okay, you don't think my wife needs to see that effort to go to like a group, right? I mean, necessarily, as long as I make the progress?
I think the only thing that would be important to her is that you're making the progress. How you make it is not as important as what the progress is.
Okay.
So you are working right now to make progress, and you need to do it the way that is best for you.
Okay.
Some people need groups, some people don't.
Okay.
So whatever works best for you.
I'd rather not for now, and then we can see.
Yes, that is completely okay.
Okay, all right, that works for me.
So for the next week or two, what kind of goals are you thinking would be good for the next step for you in your drinking?
Well, we talked a second ago. I need to cut out I need to cut back on my evening drinking.
And you had mentioned maybe by cutting off the hard liquor at first.
Yeah, that would probably be the best first step.
Now,
because that would really make a difference, I think.
When you go home in the evening, were you drinking hard liquor at home?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll go home, and if you drink anything, you'll have a beer, maybe two, but you will not be drinking any hard liquor.
That's the goal.
Okay. All right. So that would be your next step. Will you continue to be drinking at lunch when you have been, or are you going to be trying to see about cutting that out?
Well, I think ultimately I'd have to do that too, because it feeds on itself. It feeds on itself, and if you drink at lunchtime, then you're going to need to drink sooner when you get home than normal, and the alcohol. The drinking at lunch is to help get rid of the hangover from the night before, especially if you don't drink in the morning.
Right.
So I'd like to stop that. I'd like to stop the daytime drinking altogether.
Okay. So lunch, morning, all that.
Yeah, not just the Kahlua and the coffee, but the lunchtime as well. And you end up with a group of people that you just do that with, and then you just do that all the time, and then it just is.
Right.
So I need to, and it's not doing that means I'm basically, if they continue to do that, I'm cut off part of my social activity at work, kind of ish. You know what I mean?
So when you go drinking at lunch, you were doing it with a group of people from work?
Yeah, with a couple of different guys and stuff, and we're pretty much the same semi-group, kind of,
Are there any coworkers that go out at lunchtime but don't drink?
Well, yeah, most of them.
Yes, that would be true.
Yeah, back when I was younger, everybody drank at lunch, not so much anymore.
So, are there any of them that you are, good acquaintances with, friends with, that you could go out with instead, so that you're not feeling cut off from the social life at work, but you're not around the alcohol?
Yeah, that I could do that, and of course, you can I guess you could head it off at the pass if you just brought your lunch. That would really solve the problem, wouldn't it?
That is very true.
But yes, if I didn't bring my lunch, there are people that go to, Portillo's or Wendy's or whatever.
Right.
And,
Okay.
for lunch.
So for next week, your steps that you were looking at would possibly be to cut out the hard liquor at night,
Mm-hmm.
continue to no drinking in the morning,
Right.
and see what you can do about lunchtime drinking.
Right.
But do understand, you don't need to put so much pressure on yourself. That's a lot of...
Seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot. So if it's not...
What do you expect from me for these things?
Well, what I was going to say is that it's a lot. So if you are not perfect with it, you don't need to beat yourself up.
Okay.
Because that is a lot for you to be doing in a week. And if you want to start with one step of just the hard alcohol at night, or if you feel like the biggest issue for you right now is the day drinking because that starts it all on a thing.
Kind of does.
So maybe you start by just taking out the drinking at lunch, because maybe that'll snowball into less need to drink at night.
Probably, yes.
So maybe you start with that step so that you don't feel so overwhelmed by all of it.
I like that idea.
And then when we touch base next week, then we can see how that went and whether maybe cutting out all the day drinking did have an effect on the night drinking.
Sure.
You know.
That makes sense. Okay. I think it's a good goal.
And in the next week, you can continue to, lead up to any conversations with your wife. Again, don't feel pressured to have a conversation until you are ready and know what you want to say. Planning out what you want to say sometimes really helps when you have to have a big conversation.
Not being hammered might help too. Having it sober would probably be a good idea.
And that is a really, I would think when your wife is concerned about your drinking, I think that's probably a really good
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking,
yeah. Yeah. But we'll talk next week and see how that's going.
All right.
And then always remember that she's welcome to come in a session with you here if you want. But do know that this is private between us. Unless you sign something, there's nothing in here that I have to share with her.
Which is good. That's good. I don't know that I'm ready for couples therapy yet.
Yes.
I don't know that I'm ready to hear what she has to say.
And that's something we can do down the line, possibly if the conversation with her doesn't go as well as you hoped, and maybe...
That would probably be the right time, yeah.
If that conversation doesn't go well, know that that is an option.
Okay.
But hopefully it goes a lot better than you think it will. Mm-hmm. Maybe the little nuggets that you're giving her lead up to having a really good conversation.
Okay. Well, that sounds good.
So, how do you feel about the next week and what the progress you're going to make? Okay.
Good. I like where we're going, and we're going to see about that date.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So then when we touch base next week, we'll talk about your date night with your wife, and we'll talk about, how the day drinking cutting back on that has affected.
Perfect.
All right. Have a good week.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.